Hello everyone! It's a lovely day when you're sitting around thinking, what should I film and what should I do next? And you find footage sitting around that you absolutely forgot about. And you remember, oh yeah, I did do another one of these things. I wanted to try something a little bit different, so instead of trying to draw directly on the silicone pad, I just kind of dumped the pigment I wanted at the bottom. I don't know how well that's going to actually work, but we'll see. I'm just kind of paint it around. Kind of getting it into the shape I'm going to want to trace it with the UV resin. Some very glitzy purple. And I'm just going to mix a little bit of this other purple into there. I don't know how well it's going to show up with a clear base though. I might have to actually invest in some white UV resin. I may very well do that in the future because you do need some kind of pigment to make the colors pop, but we're gonna go ahead and try it anyway just to see what happens. Let me adjust my camera there better. Now we can see that I've basically just done a block of color here. And I'm just gonna uncap some UV resin and we're just gonna make a vaguely drip-like shape and see how it goes. Another thing you realize if you've worked with this stuff before is that resin moves a lot. So I kind of am trying this cure as I go technique to see if it doesn't create a smoother process for the thing as a whole. Maybe I won't have to do as much sanding and correcting. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Now we have that first thin layer to kind of work with. I'm gonna try to put some more on the edge here, and I'm gonna drop the little piece that I want and plop. That ought to, yeah. It's still a little bit soft, but it's staying in place, and that's what I wanted. I want things to kind of stay where I put them while I work. And I think I can achieve that with this technique. Let's keep going. Let's see what else I have here. I'm gonna try to mix and match a few things. I think I'm gonna use that. That's a cool looking little bead and it matches the purple background. But I wanna get some blue in here too, just to have like another cool color. And I also figure there's just no rules saying that you have to have the entire shape of the thing figured out. I think that you really can work with this as you go along, if that's what you choose to do. The only thing is that once this stuff does cure, it's so smooth that things do roll off of it very easily. So let's do ye old toothpick technique. And I'll just hold that in place and try to cure it without getting the UV light on my actual hand, even though I am wearing a glove. Let's not get skin problems from this. And yeah, that seems to have worked. That's a tried and true technique that I've used in a past video where I've made these drip art hair clips, and I think it will serve me well in many more projects. Go as I go along. I do feel like this curing as I go, one thing it is ensuring is it is making sure that stuff is getting fully cooked, so to speak. I'm not too worried about having any uncured spots because I'm curing each and every little thing and building layers as I go. So I do think this is kind of an improved technique for making this kind of hair clip. And yes, I am speeding up the video so that y'all aren't spending minutes of footage just staring at me curing things. So let's see what we got so far. I'm still not sure how well it's going to pick up that mica powder underneath as a whole, but I figure that at the very least we'll still make it a cool looking hair clip with the stuff we're going to use to put in it. Let's see, the next thing I want to do is possibly get around to adding a leg. Let me just go ahead and put that squiggly leg in there. That looks like it came out good. Just want to add a little layer where there's some thinness. I think the biggest challenge about these is keeping an even thickness throughout the entire clip. Can be a bit of a challenge. And I can already see where I'm probably going to have to do some sanding anyway, even though that might have initially been what I wanted to avoid. But oh well. At least I think these legs are coming out good. It's a little bit easier than trying to make it all in one go. And let's see, is there anything I want to maybe put in the center of this? I don't know. Decisions, I have many. Sorry for the shaky cam. And let's see. No, that won't fit. No, that's too crowded. How about put that here? I know I wanted to use that. There we go. Let's see, do we want some turquoise or do we want something else? Let me go ahead and add a little bit more around here because I want this to look a little bit more drippy than it does. And let's see, adding more legs. That's coming along. Just kind of making sure that it's lying flat and that mat isn't curling upwards, because then you get problems with your entire project lying flat. And in the future, I might actually invest in a smaller mat than this, because the bigger ones do tend to curl a little bit more. And I've been wanting to use this little bauble for a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and plunk it in there. I want to make sure that gets good and done. And there we are. Looks like that's not going anywhere. And I like what we got so far, but could we add a little bit of variety? A little bit of texture? I'm gonna go ahead and try to put down some of these glittery hearts because I still got a bunch of them and I may as well use them for something. Now let's get a coat over those and hopefully it doesn't make them slide around much. Looking good. Got a few little corners there that I wish we're not doing that, but that's what sanding is for. I was hoping to avoid some sanding, but oh well. And let's see, grab another little bead. And that looks about right. And I think I'm going to put that little pearlescent blue one in the center. We'll create a kind of flower with it. And that looks good. I was a little bit worried that I might had cured my little pearl in there too, but it's fine. And here, let's get a pearl in there. I feel like we needed something that wasn't just purple and blue. And that looks like it works out. Looking good so far. I don't know where to go next with this. Let me think. Looks like we're curing. I might add a little bit more in the cracks there to secure everything and to keep the general thickness level. And excellent. Let's see, where else do we want to go with this? No, I don't think I'm going to do that. I am going to add a little bit to the edges there and to the legs. Now let's see, what does the back of this look like? It looks like it'll be okay. I do want to put a little bit more of a layer to kind of protect and reinforce the mica powder that we picked up from the mat. And also just to make sure that it's evenly smooth on both sides. Okay, that feels and looks about right. Yeah, I definitely have a little bit of an edge there I'm gonna have to sand off. But I'd rather it come out with some consistent thickness that I have to clean up than it be too brittle and it breaks. I'm just gonna add a little bit more glitter to give us a little bit going on in that background there. I do like the glitter. And let me just see if that cured in there good. It looks like it did. Just still reinforcing it, making sure that it's come out with a thickness. I'm glad that despite the fact we've had some leakage, I can still see my original vision pretty clearly. And as long as I sand it right away, there shouldn't be any issues. Now I let that cure a good long time just to make sure that everything was cured solid and dry. Because the last thing you want is any little surprises when you're trying to sand these things. I may turn it over and cure it some more just for good measure. I'd rather be safe than sorry with this, even though this stuff does cure relatively fast. And I apologize for not really having the proper camera set up to show you what I took it downstairs to do, but I took it downstairs to sand it because sanding up here in my studio does get very messy, and I prefer not to have resin dust floating around in the air I breathe. I prefer to do it in a sink where I at least have like some water control and a mask to kind of control all of that. So maybe someday I'll have the kind of camera set up, or I'll have my husband assist me, but I didn't want to sand it in this small little room where I do this. Will, however, link you in the description what kind of little sander and rotary tool that I use. And now I'm rummaging around for, let's see what kind of clip I'm going to use. We're also going to be using the UV resin to cure one of these things onto here. And I feel like this one is the maybe appropriate length that we need for this. Actually, I changed my mind. I think I'm not going to do an alligator clip for this one. I have a bunch of these metal clips, and I do want to use them. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that down there in the resin, and we're going to pop that on there and let it cure. I think I may have let that cure for almost a full minute. I just want to be really sure that this is going to stay on there and that it's not going to be going anywhere. And that is pretty stable. Yeah, that's not coming off unless you're deliberately trying to pull it off and using a good deal of strength. So I think we did pretty good with getting that on there. Just kind of wiggling it from all angles, obviously, without trying to break it, but, you know, using enough force that I'm sure it's not going to easily come apart. Because the last thing I want to do is sell this to someone and then it falls apart within 5 minutes. If you've ever experienced having had a piece of jewelry for about a week and something falls off of it, you know how aggravating that can be. I do try to avoid that at all costs with anything that I sell. But that is our clip. The purple didn't show up vibrantly, but it did show up some, so I can't say that it didn't add anything to it. Let's get it into some better light. As you can see, it kind of is chameleon-like. It shows up better under certain circumstances and in certain lighting, but it is a nice little clip nonetheless. And if you've liked this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. It'll help my small channel grow. And I will see you in the next art story. Bye for now.